Hello folks and welcome to sherwoodphoenix.co.uk. It's Christmas time and there's a lot of people out there buying pianos at the minute, and the question you always ask yourself when you're buying a piano, whether it's your first and sometimes your second time, is what should I buy? And the real answer to that question is the right piano for you. A lot of the times, I've been buying and selling pianos since I was 10 years old. Started off as a hobby, and to be quite honest, I actually went through a lot of pianos in my very early years, and I started learning about pianos and the components of pianos and what makes a piano work and what makes it special, and the differences between a good piano, a bad piano, or a overused, battered to death piano, or the differences between a digital piano and acoustic piano. And on this occasion, it's an acoustic with a silent system, which is ultimately a bit of a hybrid between what you see here and here. And the real answer for what piano is right for me is whatever piano is right for me right now. So a lot of the time when people are thinking about buying a piano, they might take advice from a friend who's a piano player, or mum or dad that's also played the piano 25 years ago, or possibly a piano teacher, or possibly a teacher at school, or someone who's got a little bit of knowledge on the subject piano, because when we go to buy a piano, we don't tend to know exactly what we're looking for, and it's normally an area where we really, as individuals, it's something we've not had lots and lots of experience in. Now, I'm saying we, when in actual fact myself, I've been involved in over 10,000 piano purchases over the course of a 30-year life of pianos. So in my case, I do know what I'm talking about, and I'm also very fair in the conversation. I don't like to call it an argument because it is a conversation, but the reality is a piano is only right for the person who's buying the piano. It's not necessarily your piano teacher's choice or the mum and dad's choice or whoever it is. It is mum and dad's choice when they're deciding on the budget, of course. But the reality is, it's like your piano teacher probably will have a particular allegiance to a particular brand, and they've played that piano for many years and really like it. And it's like a good wine or something like that, or your favourite. It's almost like your favourite car or something like that. People just there is some elements of the branding that people just do fall in love with and start to rely on, and there's good reason for that to be the case. But at the same time, the way I've always explained it to people that struggle with, where do I look for my advice, is I've passed my driving test when I was 17, and my driving instructor was a lovely guy. In fact, he had what seemed to be a decent choice of cars at the time, but I wouldn't have asked him to pick my car. But the reality is, it's a personal choice, and pianos become very personal. The point they're not personal is when you're buying it for the first time and you've not quite acquired the taste, like a good coffee. For instance, I've started to enjoy coffee, and I know what I like in a coffee, and I know what I don't like, and it's the same in pianos. So the reality is, if you've never played a piano before and you're thinking of setting out on the journey of buying a piano, do ask your questions, but you've got to really take into account all the things that matters to you. So for instance, digital piano against acoustic piano, generally speaking, people say, well, it's the size, that's one of the first objections of, I need to buy a digital piano. But in actual reality, the 88 note keyboard on both pianos is pretty much identical in width and almost identical in the depth from there to there. So the real size thing is the mass from the top to the bottom. There's no real great footprint that either of these two pianos takes up. It's really just this height. So if you're maybe putting it underneath a staircase or putting it in a small place with maybe a bookshelf above it or something like that, a short digital piano can be better on that occasion. And then people say, you know, well, I want to be able to move the piano, and you're like, well, okay, that's a fair point. A digital piano is easier to move, but the reality is, how often are you going to move the piano? Are you going to ever move it? Is it just an idea that if I ever have to move this piano, I should be able to do this either myself or with a family member, which at the point you'll look to move an acoustic piano, that can be a little bit harder, but at the same time, normally once you've placed a piano in the right place, you don't tend to need to move it unless you are going out gigging. Then a digital piano is a little bit easier if you're planning to take it out with you. Of course, the next thing is, well, I can plug in my headphones with a digital piano and play in more or less silence. A lot of acoustic pianos come with a practice pedal, which allows you to at least minimise the sound that comes out of the piano. And in this occasion, we've got the silent system on this piano, which can now be added to just about any acoustic piano. So the playing in silence is really a great tool. It's a great tool in many circumstances, whether it's to avoid pestering your own family or maybe your next door neighbours, or maybe you just like playing in headphones. Personally, I love the piano and I love acoustic pianos, and my heart is in the acoustic piano. I've been playing since I was 7 years old, and I've always loved acoustics. I've had digital pianos for examples of times where I've needed a digital piano, but my heart is always with the acoustic piano. So it's a really it's a conversation I have every single day, and for that reason I've taken the time to pull two pianos together and just basically talk about the entire scenario. And certainly if you want to come down, the best way to really get an example of this and a sample of both is come down to our showroom, or maybe a more local showroom if you've got one more local, and try both. There's a lot of very cheap digital pianos out there, folks, and I'll be honest, I personally wouldn't advise buying them. They're not going to inspire you to play the piano, and I'm not talking about some of the big brands, which I'll not name brands as such, but there's some really affordable looking piano options out there at the minute, and the reality is they're barely working as a piano, and they're not going to train your fingers, and they're not going to inspire you to want to play it more. That's one of the things I found with the acoustic pianos. Even when you go to an old acoustic piano, a really old acoustic piano, and it's not in tune, it can still inspire you to play and feel the sensation of the instrument, rather than it just being a heartless digital piano. And certainly the better digital pianos are becoming better and better all the time, but they've still got a long way to go to completely emulate what goes on in an acoustic piano. The other problem you've got to consider when you buy a digital piano is it is an electronic item. Like the very item I'm recording this on today, which is an iPhone 14, you generally get a 2-year window before they start causing you some problems, some minor problems, and then it seems to escalate with time, a little bit like your television, washing machine, fridge, freezer, microwave. If you've had one of these items break down on you in the last 2 to 5 years, then ultimately the digital piano is exactly that. It's not going to last forever. This one is a good example of one that's lasted a good life. And the chap that we bought this from has just traded it in against a lifelong acoustic piano, and certainly it's going to be a great option for him. And he's managed to get playing and get his children playing on this piano, and that's what they're good for. The digital pianos are very budget friendly, and if you're on a budget, then a digital piano can sometimes be the best way. But if money's not so much the thing to hold you back, then I would always try and encourage people to buy the acoustic piano, because what we find is you buy once and you never need to buy again. Enough of me talking, folks. Let me play these two pianos over for you. So what we have here is a YUS 3 with the silent system. That's a factory fitted silent system, and then the Yamaha CLP 240. So let me just demonstrate this, and let's see if you can hear the differences. Few different samples of playing there, a few different kind of styles if you like. I'm not the world's best piano player, but I have been playing the piano for 30 years. I've been restoring pianos for a similar amount of time. It's a lifelong passion. I just see people reading and commenting, and I do agree with a lot of things that I see, but there's some things that I think come from a lack of experience, of really understanding the differences of these two wonderful instruments. They both are pianos at the end of the day, but the only real piano for me is this one. And the beauty of a lot of the benefits, other than the fact that you can't move an acoustic piano just as easily. The silent system, you've got the same benefit on this, but you just don't get what you get from an acoustic piano out of a digital piano, and I can't say it any easier than that. When it comes to playing the silent system, it's a case of put the power on. There's a lever over to the right hand side. Put the headphones on, and almost silent. You still hear the action of the piano, which is the same when you're playing the digital piano. You get that kind of thudding noise, which is just about as annoying as someone playing the piano if you're not wanting to listen to it. But yeah, if you've got any questions about what should I buy, where should I buy it from, feel free to come down and just try some pianos. What should I buy is a question that only you can answer. Basically what I'm saying is, don't take my advice, don't take your piano teacher's advice. By all means get a tuner or a technician to check a piano over with you or for you. We have a team of technicians and tuners here. You're welcome to bring your own. If you're buying a piano from us, we've not got a problem with that. We utilise piano tuners all over the UK and throughout the world as we do worldwide deliveries. And certainly there's a good community of piano technicians and tuners throughout the world, and there is good tuners and technicians, and then there's some tuners and technicians that are basically just getting started, and it's worthwhile being aware of that. And again, it's back to that thing, you might have a tuner or technician that you're asking to pick between two pianos, and that person might still have a preference, remember. So the choice must be yours at the end of the day, but the advice is all there. Just it's a case of basically taking the best advice you can and making your own decision. So I hope this video has been useful, and if you do want to come down and try pianos, we are here Monday to Saturday, 10 till 5, and any other time by appointment. We have 3 floors of mostly pianos, but other musical instruments, some artifacts, and a collection of over 100 pieces of art. We have some beautiful cars in a collection at the minute, motorbikes, and some other fantastic artifacts. So if you want to come down, learn a bit about pianos, and see what we believe is the best piano showroom in the UK, then you're certainly our guest. Thanks again for watching, folks. Bye for now.